Currently, the most underserved topic in Siege is how to set your sensitivity settings. Siege is really the only game that I know of that does one-shot headshots, so you can go pretty far in this game without knowing anything other than how to aim. That's probably not going to take you all the way to the places that you want to be as far as your rank goes, but it's at least half of this game. Players will find themselves on YouTube videos watching these crazy aims, or they'll watch a kill cam and someone's got them dead to rights and feels like there's nothing they can do about it. Siege isn't a perfect game, it never has been, and it probably never will be. My biggest issue with the game has been for a few years now that people are using keyboard and mouse on a console. Players seem to be under the impression that if you change your settings that you're going to be able to play as well as someone who's cheating, but the reality is there's not really anything we can do about that. Ubisoft has set into place what's called the mouse trap, which punishes players for using a keyboard and mouse. That's already been kind of bypassed, but they're going to continue to work on that, and all we can do in the meantime is either cheat ourselves or try to play the best to our ability. So what I'm going to give you today is some guidelines on your sensitivity, and yes, I will just show you what my sensitivity is, especially for new players. This might be something that's helpful. But here's the thing, like myself, you are an individual, and sensitivity comes down to how hard you are on those sticks. And so what I'm going to do is give you some guidelines to help you figure out what sensitivity works for you in particular. I've been lifting weights for 15 years. My hands have gotten very fat and large, and I can barely hold on to the controller as is. One of the settings that you're going to notice right off the bat is way different than what you're going to see pretty often, which is my dead zone is probably double what I would recommend it to be because my hands are so thick. So a normal distance for someone who's a little bit smaller than me is so minuscule that I just can't control it. So I've set my sensitivity according to how I play. And I'm going to give you some guidelines today that is going to help you set up your sensitivity to give you the best chance to having good aim. There's a few things that we need to cover right off the bat. If you're watching PC players play, or you're watching someone who's doing keyboard and mouse on an Xbox, you just have to understand that the aim is never going to be that good. Look, I don't know how popular this opinion is or if it's even accurate, but I would say that, a platinum level PC player has better aim than a champion level console player that's playing on controller. So I don't want you to get the impression that if you find the right settings for you, you're ever going to be able to aim and move the way that the PC players do. And if you happen to be playing on PC, just keep in mind that these sensitivity rules and guidelines are going to work for you as well. And I apologize, we're already 3 minutes into this video and I haven't given you any value, so just bear with me here. Those things are important to understand. All right, let's get into it. The settings for your controller are pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of different elements that go into it that you could fine-tune later down the road, but I just want to focus on 3 things right now. Your regular sensitivity, your ADS sensitivity, and your dead zone for your sticks. Let's start off with your standard sensitivity. This is the sensitivity that is not aimed down sights. The general evolution of a Siege player looks something like at the beginning you're sprinting around a lot and then someone else is ADS and they get you and you don't have enough time to go ADS, so you start to realize, oh, I need to be ADS, and so then you're ADS all the time and you're not really moving, you're not very mobile, you can't switch between angles. Then people start getting you from weird angles that you weren't looking at, and then you kind of realize like, oh, I need to have a mix between the two, ADS and not ADS. So your non-ADS sensitivity needs to be as high as possible without you overshooting the angles. Meaning if you're in a room like I am inside of this clip, you need to be able to switch between both doors fast enough and efficiently enough to be able to take on both gunfights if they come from either direction. If your sensitivity is too slow, you're not going to be able to switch in time, then they're going to be able to get an easy kill on you. If it's too fast, you're going to overshoot and you're not going to be able to control what you're doing. Everyone is a little bit different here. Some people can control a higher sensitivity than others, and really I would suggest kind of pushing it up as high as you can, incrementally getting you used to it piece by piece, and then eventually finding something where you can, do both. Standard sensitivity is in 2 parts. There's a vertical and a horizontal. In my opinion, I think that they should be different. I don't think that your vertical needs to be that high. It's really only for you to look up and get to gadgets. You should be holding it at head level all the time. When I'm playing a character like Fenrir, I'm trying to put his stuff up on the roof. That way they have to look up and then come all the way back down. So your vertical sensitivity just really needs to be fast enough for you to be able to get up there and come back down without getting in the way of your horizontal sensitivity, while your horizontal sensitivity needs to be as fast as you can basically manage angles. Your ADS sensitivity, or your aim down sights sensitivity, is a little bit different. Most players actually have this a little too high. They're used to other games where their regular sensitivity and their ADS sensitivity is the same, and so they don't want to, put themselves in a position where they can't turn around fast enough. But Siege is different because you can go in and out of ADS pretty quickly. You're holding an angle before you ever see anyone. And again, we have one-shot headshots. So here's my rule for your ADS sensitivity. If you cannot unload an entire magazine of Warden's MPX, then your sensitivity is too hot. Doesn't matter if you're playing keyboard or mouse or with a controller, that gun should have no recoil when you're using it. Not every operator in Rainbow Six Siege has a good gun. That's just the reality of it. It's a balancing act to try to balance out the gadgets that they have. If they have a really good gadget, they're not going to have a great gun. But as far as operators with good guns go, there's 3 parts to the balancing. As DPS goes up, then magazine size goes down or recoil has to go up. So if you can't manage a weapon with low recoil, then once you get up into the high DPS weapons, you basically have no chance. You might as well not even pick a high DPS weapon. Alright, you stuck around to the last part of the video, and we've got something good for you. This actually could immediately improve your gameplay. I've got a friend that doubled their dead stick zone and immediately doubled the amount of kills that they were getting into a round. Some people are just a little harder on those sticks, and giving yourself a little bit more wiggle room and time to kind of do those fine motor movements could greatly improve your game. The last thing that I want to convey to you is that I've been playing this game for basically before it came out. I got early access, and if I move my sensitivity up or down 5, it's a huge noticeable difference, and it'll take me maybe a couple days, maybe depending on the change and what I'm changing, might even take me a week to get used to. The idea of getting this perfect sensitivity is possible, but it's very individual. And it's going to take a long time for you to work your way from the bottom up and to find what works for you. Okay, let everyone know in the comments below what your sensitivity is at. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the page. Keep shooting straight, folks.